Greetings, members one and all of the Salivation Nation. How gold and copper compare in 2021. Let's explore. Some may find that title a bit perplexing and confusing, especially when you consider that copper is a base metal and gold is a precious metal, a very rare precious metal, highly sought after. But believe it or not, even before 2021, copper and gold are comparable in many different ways. For instance, both have been used as money and in currency for thousands of years. One could say that copper has an edge up on gold, considering that it is still being used as money. That's right. It is in our quarters and in our dimes and in our nickels. In fact, the nickel is comprised of 75% copper and only 25% nickel. Nonetheless, these metals have a lot more in common than you think. You know, the other property about copper and gold is that they are not silver in color. That's right. And most other metals that are out there have a silvery color to them. Oh, here's one, a silver dollar. That's right. Then that kind of that white color to these metals is something that is most pronounced in the platinum group metals, in silver, in iron, and obviously steel, zinc, and other metals out there. They tend to have that sort of silvery grayish hue to them. But gold and copper are unique in that they have a brilliant kind of red and obviously yellow color to them. You can see that here in this view of both of these particular pieces together here. Quite fascinating and unique in their appearance. They're almost they're immediately recognizable compared to the other metals out there. Now, the other thing, other than the obvious things I've mentioned, is their performance this year. For gold has done very well this year, but coming off the rebound from the 2020 recession, we've seen gold go up well above $2,000. Many people feel that it's going to reach those numbers again during the course of this year. But copper, it really is not talked a whole lot about in the circles here in the precious metals community, but it has done very well too. And a lot of that is due to many different factors, but a lot of them are affecting other metals as well. But copper is nearing all-time highs. You know, it's up more than 100% in less than a year. And so when you take that into account, you know, there is a lot of good reason to be paying attention to copper. Now, you may ask, what's the best way to accumulate copper? Or should I even accumulate copper at all here in 2021, considering that the prices for copper they're about $4 a pound now? Well, in this particular format, it is a 1 ounce round. And I bought this round quite some time ago, and they were cheap. You know, these things can be had for $1 and sometimes even less. But even at that price point, you're paying quite a bit of a premium for such a piece as this, and mainly because of the manufacturing cost in producing these rounds. And obviously with a generic design such as a buffalo design, you know, that's kind of just stamped out by the thousands, you know, this really does not have any numismatic value or any other collector value, but you're still paying a pretty penny for them. And that leads me to, well, the best way to stack copper. That's right. The best way to stack copper is like this, is to grab yourself some Lincoln cents if you find them in circulation, and they must be from 1982 or earlier. And those that are in 1982, you might want to weigh them or check their appearance. It's kind of difficult to see the appearance, but some of them were made with the new composition of copper-coated zinc. Now, zinc is another metal to kind of pay attention to. So one may think that even the zinc cents might be worth accumulating because those prices are up 50% in the past year as well. And they are very much in demand, these metals for industry and the like, but they are in our currency. And so when you have metals like copper and gold, there is things to consider when accumulating them and how to stack them. These only cost 1 cent, and they have well more than 2 cents worth of metal in them. In fact, probably if you weigh this out, it's probably closer to 3 cents. And I think that's a good enough reason to start accumulating these. I actually did accumulate Lincoln cents for quite a while, and then decided to go ahead and cash them out. I kind of wish I would have kept those that were dated 1982 or earlier. But nonetheless, that is the best way to stack copper. But there's other ways to accumulate, and another way to compare gold with copper, and that is in the mining sector. Many times gold, silver, zinc and lead are byproducts of each other, essentially, whenever there's mining operations going on. And that leads us to the sponsored portion of this video, where we are talking about Phoenix Gold Resources Corporation, who is efficient and streamlined with a market cap of $5.8 million. And they are certainly in the midst of discovery for some good finds of gold, copper, and lithium, and zinc as well, and other metals that I think are going to be quite profound in the coming years, as we've seen and talked about how a lot of these metals are up now. It is a company that is very well invested by a tight group of individuals, including its founder, its chief financial officer, and associates. They control over 50% of the shares. So it's very tightly held. And so the key people in the organization, they certainly do believe in the company and what their mission is. They have 2 sites, and the first in Nevada is obviously well known for being a prolific gold jurisdiction. And they have 2 properties each with a 50% ownership, the El Dorado and Plumes areas. And El Dorado's additional 50% owner is none other than a name we've all heard of, and that's Newmont Mining. So past producing mines like those, that the Phoenix Gold founders' favorite type of asset, since the strategy is to bring them back to modern standards, drill to expand the resource and build a shareholder value. So you have to know the area and the history and the geology and the ground to be able to make that kind of investment. And I think seeing where those properties are and the past work done in those areas, I think is profound, and looking for future resources there. Then we have the copper zinc area. These are some very, very interesting areas in Newfoundland, Canada. And these is the best performing industrial metals, which are correlated with both China's incredible rebound from the 2020 recession and the electric vehicle revolution, which is we're going to see. This is these metals. The EV revolution would not exist without these metals, and much of electronics would not exist without copper, especially. We talk about silver and how important silver is in electronics, but copper is profound in those kind of resources and electronics of all sorts, and it has been for the last 100 years or so. So it is interesting. There's a lot of potential here, but again, they are looking at these acquisitions and doing test drills and the like, and they are looking to move forward in this area. So it provides an opportunity for investment in the mining sector as a way to look into both gold and copper as a good comparison for here in 2021. But as is always the case with companies like this, it's best to take a look and do your own research and due diligence. And I will post a link to their website where you can inquire and contact them for any further questions you have, and also to understand the risks involved. They are working to accumulate shareholders and resources to begin their projects out there. Fascinating indeed. The company acquired a past-producing mine, as mentioned here in Newfoundland, Canada, which will become the main focus of 2021. And they've just announced the acquisition and the coming drilling program. And so with that being said, that's the future here as they look to expand, knowing where the technology is going with the EV battery industry. And that is what is so promising about mining for these metals. And new sites are looking to be found in times like this. So I will post a link again in the comment section or in the description below to Phoenix Gold Resources website. Hope you will check it out. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. But that's just yet another way to compare gold and copper in 2021. So I'd like to extend a multitude of gratitude to you all for taking the time to watch, and encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.